Not to ignore the DCP textbook forever, Web 225, but here in this same session, we've got the idea of light and how to read it in the DPCC text. And over here in the SCP text, we have a more, or maybe an equally analog way to look at how we use and how to experience light in your images. So this happens to be page 140 behind me, and I just want to show you the way that light influences the subject, because if you can understand, or at least start to appreciate, how it is that light has an impact on the overall composition of your images, you begin to use it more strategically. You begin to think, okay, this is where my light source is. This is where I need to place myself as the photographer. So right here, again, this is page 140 and it continues down. We've got a single subject with probably a seamless paper backdrop. So a backdrop, a black, simple backdrop. In the back, we have one photographer, so one camera, and we have one single light source. So if we would be looking at it straight on, it would be this way, but from above, it would be something like this. And you can see that here with the front lighting example. So what do you notice? A couple of things. One, the face, the neck are exposed. We still have a good amount of separation between the subject, the back of her hair, for instance, and the backdrop. We do have that nice shadow line under her neck. So this represents pretty good lighting. If we continue on and we have that light offset at 45 degrees, you'll see what that does is it creates a shadow on the opposite side of the subject's face. The other thing it also does is there is less detail on the underexposed side of the subject's head. So one single light source, one single camera, two different feelings that the image is going to express here. Next, we have a full 90 degrees. So over here, oppositional 90 degrees to the camera. There we go. And you can see just that change, that 45-degree change in the angle of our primary light source has a tremendous impact on the overall composition of the image. This time around, everything on the illuminated side is, and I will say for this, over illuminated. You can see there's no real separation on the inside, so the light side of the subject's nose, and we have a really unfortunate nostril happening there. That's because that's the nature of shadows. If we continue to move that backlight, you'll notice that this one is not 90 degrees again from the previous position. Why is it not 90 degrees from the previous position? Because if that was the case, we would have a situation where there is almost nothing of our subject illuminated, and we run the risk of, depending on how everything is situated, just having the entire image blown out by the light source facing the camera. So you'll see here in this image, this is on 141, that even with that 10-degree offset, we do get a different image than we would if we continued to move that light source directly behind the subject. Here again, because we barely have any light influencing the subject, everything turns out relatively dark. What the next one from backlighting will move to top lighting, and I know it's difficult to see here. With top lighting, what we end up doing is, from above, so the light comes straight down, or straight-ish down. I would say that this is still a few degrees behind, let's say, top dead center of subject's skull. So what that does is it creates those big, long shadows. This is, I guess if you have your death metal band, this is the way you want to go. But if I was doing this for portrait or studio lighting, I really wouldn't do that. Next, what we are doing is we are moving that light source down and again a few degrees forward. So this one is offset to the right, whereas we started moving that light to the left in all of these examples. So now again you can see with the bottom illumination there is no chin separation there, so you don't really get to see a lot of that. The hair that is coming down is casting shadows up. The nose, the lips, the ridges on her, what would those be? Cheeks, I suppose. The ridges on her cheeks are creating those deep shadows that go up. Again, okay, for your death metal band, maybe this would be appropriate. However, if we were arguing that we wanted to do this for a portrait, so think things like headshots, think things like even something as simple as an email signature or the image that you would use in Eagle as, for instance, this the front lighting would be the best way to do that. But also remember, front lighting does not mean top dead center in front of everything. Front lighting really does mean at an offset so that we can still have some depth information that the light is going to give us by creating those shadows. Now, the one thing I did not mention yet, and it is here in the text, and it's another reason I really like this text. It's a very, very tangible, approachable way to think about an individual's experience in 40 years of photography is the ISO settings here. You get to pull those down. The benefit of having lower ISOs is that we don't have a lot of that digital noise that's going to come in here, and that's going to help with the overall quality of the image. Next, we'll take a look at, again, moving the light with studio lighting. And I just want you to take notice of what's happening behind me here is with a black backdrop. Notice what happens in the next video when we switch to a white backdrop.